each week what I'm gonna make in advance so that I can get things out of the freezer and I don't have to worry about defrosting meat or, standing at the fridge at 4 o'clock and like wondering what the heck am I gonna make for dinner? But I did do that this week, and I have a few staple meals that I can pull together really quickly that I know as long as I have those things in the fridge, I can pull them together whether I planned or not. My family will eat them, I can make extra, and they will eat leftovers. So today is one of those days, and I am making our quick chicken curry. My family loves it. It's a few ingredients that I make sure that I always have on hand. I make this probably twice a month, and my family loves it every time. So that's what we're gonna make today. All right, friends, let's get started. I have 2 pots here. This is my big one, these are Rebel stainless steel, that's what I love to use. And this is what I make rice in, because you're gonna serve this over rice. You don't have to, you could serve it over noodles, or you could just eat it as more of a stew, but that's what I like to do. So, you could also make this in the Instant Pot. I do that sometimes. I'm gonna heat this up to medium, and my cooking fat of choice today is gonna be avocado oil. I love to cook with avocado oil. It has a higher smoke point than like an olive oil. This one is from Azure Standard. I just did my first Azure order last month, and I did a video on it. I will link that in the description. So I start with about a tablespoon or 2 of oil. You don't need much. I've got 2 small onions. You can use 1 large. This takes about 10 minutes of hands-on time, you guys, and the rest is just letting it simmer. Doesn't take long at all. You just want to rough chop these. You don't need to get real fancy with it. All right, whenever I get onions in the pan, I always give them a good salt to get them sweating. No, honey, I'm making dinner. Ella just came in and said, "Did you say dinner's ready?" They love curry. Stir. Next up is carrots. This is a carrot-heavy dish. I use a lot of carrots in this dish because they're a good filler. When I first started making this, I got the recipe from a friend of mine who's actually vegetarian, and she uses, instead of chicken, we're using chicken thighs, which are what we prefer. Instead of chicken, she uses garbanzos, which we will add that sometimes. If I only have like 1 package of chicken, then I'll add in a can of garbanzos. I'm not doing that today. I always keep my chicken bowl right here, you guys, for extras when I'm cooking, because I can take odds and ends, scraps and stuff out to my chicken ladies, and they really love it. If you follow me on Instagram, or you have for a while, you know I've shared this recipe over there. I think I have it saved to a highlight. All right, now we're gonna deal with our chicken. So I just went and got this out of the deep freeze. Here's my tip for defrosting meat on the fly. Do not microwave it, especially because it's in plastic. You don't want to microwave plastic. It releases all of its plasticizers and petrochemicals and whatnot into the food that you're gonna eat. So we don't want to be eating petrochemicals. So I just put it in a bowl of warm water, and it defrosts in no time. So these ones I got from Costco. They come in a 3-pack like this. I won't put all of this in the curry. I'll probably put 2 packs in the curry, or 1.5, and then I'll chunk up the other half and throw it in the oven to roast, and I'll eat it for lunches throughout the week. So I'm just gonna put these into about 1-inch chunks. I use a separate board for meat that I can just throw in the dishwasher. I do vegetables on this one, and I don't put this board into the dishwasher, but this one can go into the dishwasher, so I handle raw meat on this board. This chicken is not even all the way defrosted. You can see it's still like frozen in clumps. That's actually okay. It's easier to cut that way. I'm just doing chunks about this big. In a few weeks here, about a month's time, we're getting our very first 50 baby chicks in the mail that we are going to raise for meat and butcher and process ourselves. Got my 3-year-old, she just turned 3 yesterday here. She's bouncing the ball, the basketball around the house. She skipped her nap, so things are a little special, but that's my real life. I have 3 children, 3 beautiful children, 10, 7, and just turned 3, and we are a homeschooling family. I work from home. My husband works outside the home. So there's a lot going on here all the time, but we're home most of the time. 3 meals a day here in this kitchen. All right, chicken's in, hands are washed. We're gonna give it some more salt and pepper. A good amount. You can see I'm not afraid of salt. That's one mistake I think that home cooks make, is that they under-season their food. They're afraid of salt. This is good quality salt that is actually good for your body. It has lots of minerals in it. You don't want to use the iodized salt that is bleached and stripped of its minerals and has anti-caking agents in it like wood pulp and often sugar added. So we use good salt. I'm going to add a hefty amount of garlic powder. You can use real garlic if you want. I have plenty, but I'm feeling a little lazy, so I'm just going to use the powder right now. Nothing wrong with that. Next thing we're going to add is curry powder. This is Madras Curry powder. It's mild, it is gluten-free and non-GMO. This is from As Your Standard. I buy my spices in bulk from them. It is a great place to buy spices, especially organic spices. Organic, when it comes to spices, is important because spices and herbs have a lot of medicinal properties, and when they're not organic, they are irradiated and it kills off a lot of their medicinal properties. So we try to do organic when possible. This is a new bag. And you want to do a good amount of curry powder. I would say you're looking at 3 to 4 tablespoons of curry powder. How about I actually measure it just for fun? One thing you will learn about me that often makes my cooking hard to share is that I don't measure a lot, because I've learned to adjust as I'm cooking, because sometimes you're gonna get a stronger curry powder. Sometimes your garlic powder is gonna be old and you're gonna need a little bit more. Sometimes, you know, your onions won't be as strong because they're older and maybe you want to add some extra onion powder. You just have to taste things, learn what you like, and then learn how to adjust it. But I will give some measurements. I'm going to put the whole recipe to this in the video description below so that you can have a place to start. But just know that it's a guide and you can adjust to accommodate your preferences. That's the beauty of cooking at home. That's 4 tablespoons. I'm going to start with that. We're going to give it a good stir. I can tell I'm going to want about 2 more tablespoons, so we're going to go with 6 tablespoons of curry powder. Another tip when cooking at home and using dried spices and herbs is that if you saute them a little bit, it will sort of wake up the flavors. If you think about it, these have been kind of hanging out dormant on a shelf for quite a while sometimes, and they can be a little lackluster, but if you toast it in the pan, it will intensify and bring up all the flavors. You what? So we're just gonna let that toast up for just about 3 to 4 minutes. This has been cooking for just a couple of minutes. You can see it's not very pretty right now, but it will be in a few minutes. We are not looking to cook anything through right here. We're just looking to get a good start on it, a bit of a brown on it, and we're gonna look for some lovely fond on the bottom of the pot. That is all flavor, that is good stuff. We're gonna pull that up with some coconut milk in a little bit. In the meantime, let's get our rice started. I am using just an organic long grain brown rice. I get this from As Your Standard. I'm gonna make 2 cups of rice. Rice is always a 2-to-1 ratio, liquid to rice. So 2 cups of rice. And then I'm using some homemade bone broth. I don't have a video for this yet, but I will make one. Look out for it in the future. So I'm gonna do 4 cups of bone broth. And this is one of the primary ways that I use bone broth is in rice making, because bone broth is full of vitamins and minerals and collagen that is so healing to the gut and good for you. So we make this just from leftover chickens that we have. So all I do to make this is I just pop the lid on, put it over medium heat, look out for it to come to a boil, and once it does, just shut it off and leave it, and I'll just set it and forget it. It'll be ready for me whenever our curry's done. Okay, next up, that is nice and toasted. So I'm gonna use a half a container of tomato paste. This is a 7-ounce container, and it's the Bio Natura brand. I like this one because it comes with a resealable lid, so I'm not using the whole thing. You can pop the lid back on, put it in the fridge, and use it another day for another recipe. Tomato paste is also something you want to kind of cook in the pan a little bit before you add your liquid. It can taste a little raw tomatoey, so you just want to cook off a little bit of that raw tomato flavor. It's also going to give some nice brown bits on the bottom that equal a lot of flavor. Next two ingredients that we have are coconut milk, 2 cans. You want to do unsweetened coconut milk. This is the Native Forest brand. I like this one because it's nice and thick, has a lot of cream on the top, which I like. And then I'm gonna use 1 container of, this is an 18-ounce jar of jovial whole peeled tomatoes. Normally I would use diced, but I'm all out, so I'm just gonna make sure I break these up. You can actually use your kitchen shears and reach right down in there to chop up your tomatoes in the pan. It's a lot easier than trying to use the wooden spoon to like break them up. Tomatoes are another thing that I'm really excited to not have to buy from anywhere. I'm growing a boatload of tomatoes in the garden this year. This is our first year doing a big garden, and I have started a lot of tomato plants downstairs. So I am banking on a bumper crop. All right, we're just gonna stir this all in until it's fully incorporated and nice and smooth and creamy. We're gonna bring it up to a boil. We're gonna pop the lid on. We're gonna reduce it down and let it simmer for about 15 minutes. By that time, our rice will be done and it'll be ready to eat. All right, it's been about 15-20 minutes, and this should be done, and it's good timing because my husband just walked in the door from work. I have a couple of things to finish it off. First of all, I'm gonna stir it, taste it, and adjust my seasonings. I usually need to add a little bit more salt. I am gonna squeeze about a half of a lemon in there. This is optional, but I really like the brightness that it gives it. And then some herbs. Typically I put cilantro on there, but I don't have any cilantro. And often I don't put anything on there because I don't always have fresh herbs on hand. But if I do, I use them. Today I have basil, so that's what I'm gonna use. It's just a garnish. Okay, the salt is actually perfect, so I'm just going to have this lemon. If you squeeze it cut side up, you can avoid getting some seeds in there. Give it another stir. I'm going to show you what this looks like. All right, see how yummy and creamy that looks? It's so good. Our rice is done. Just need to fluff that up. And there you have it, friends. That is a big bowl of delicious curry. It is super nutritious, nutrient dense, real whole food that I pulled from my pantry that was made in just a few minutes. Friends, if you like seeing real whole food, nutritious recipes on our channel. I would love so much if you would subscribe and like. Tell us in the comments what recipes you like to make for your family and what types of recipes you would like to see more of here. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We'll see you next time.